wasn't a mixed breed person from Jewish and Samaritan. It just shouldn't have been. And he's spending time with her, and the disciples were like, "Hey, Jesus, are you okay? Do we need to rescue you?" They were the revival bouncers. And they were coming to rescue Jesus from this woman. And Jesus like, no. She's the joy set before me. This is a good moment right now. Like this woman who, I don't know if you've ever been with somebody who isn't necessarily a person that people would see you spend time with. You know, like some of your friends or family who maybe not know Jesus and you might look at you and go, "What are you doing? Like, do you not value yourself? You're spending time with that homeless person. What are you doing?" You know, and Jesus spent time with people, and he caused them to feel who they really were just by being with them. That woman went away. He only said a few things to her, but she went away and said to her village and said, "Come meet the man who told me everything about myself." He told her very little, but when he looked at her with the affection of heaven, she felt the fullness of God and his love. That region was the first region that had a full transformation of salvation and revival in it. Her region, when he reached out to her in John 4, it became the fastest growing revival in the early church history after he resurrected. And I just think like it started with this woman who a lot of the other Jewish people would look at as like a prostitute or like a hoe, you know, whatever. When you study church revival in history, it's usually started by people under 15 to 20 people who just prayed, and they were the least likely. Like the Argentine revivals was a college group of youth, and in that generation, young people's voices weren't heard or seen. They weren't allowed to even, you know, take any role in the church at all. They were put into young adult groups even if they were 27 years old, and this group was just praying for radical revival, and God showed up. You know, you just look at this over and over in history. When real revival hit, where it changed society, it was usually somebody who was the least likely, who manifested something in God's heart that said, "I see beyond where we're at right now." And they had so much hope in what they saw that it was a catalyst for society to change. And I feel like all of us can get that kind of vision because we love God. And when you love God, you start to live in that love, and it becomes a house for others' faith. And I want to encourage you this morning, like some of you haven't seen yourself as like, maybe you're looking for a father. And some of us, the way we're looking for a spiritual father is we're looking for a sugar daddy. We want somebody who will solve our problems, fix our lives, provide for us, make room for us, make our opportunities happen. And the reality is that you have a Father in heaven who's done all that, and so he purposely withholds. I just wish I was mentored. I just wish I had, you know, better spiritual father. My natural parents sucked, whatever. I hear this all the time, and I have compassion for that. But the reality is that you have the Father in heaven. It's his favorite role over your life is to be your father, and he's pre-planned in your history, both now and in eternity, everything it would take for you to thrive. He loves you. If he's given you a destiny, there's always provision for it. There's always authority for it. There's always everything you would need for it. And I know for myself, like,